Hi, my name is Tisha Donnell, Vice President for Agilon Professional Staffing, and I'm excited today to share with you our newest white paper for supply chain that talks about one of the hottest topics called IoT, Internet of Things. The IoT is a term that describes the revolution of embedding chips, sensors, or software physically in objects in order to track and exchange data. So your mobile phones or your wearable technology like our Apple Watch is a great example of this. This just shows one of the areas that has really changed the supply chain. And it continues to expand and be more complex. And the boardroom, the executive suite, is really starting to see the importance of supply chain. So why is this important to you? Well, as a company, our placements have more than doubled every year we focus on supply chain. This means that the pool of talent that the industry has to support this change is very small. And therefore, they have been reaching out to us to help grow their teams and also improve their talent in order to keep up with the changes. So use this white paper as you talk to supply managers and above. This will provide interesting conversation as well as help your credibility within the industry. I'm going to turn it over to a few supply chain sales experts to give you some tips on how they would use it. Great. Want to take it away?
You bet. Thanks, Tish. I'm Drake Berryhill, Managing Director for the Raleigh Office of Accounting Principals and Agilon and Parker & Lynch. And after initially reading this white paper, I thought it was pretty incredible, some of the technology that's coming down the line. And immediately coming to mind was some specific industries and specific individuals that I thought would probably see a strong degree of interest in what this white paper is going to present. And immediately came to mind were the 3PL and 4PL companies. These are third-party logistics, fourth-party logistics companies. And the reason being is these companies are always looking at new services to provide to their clients, new technologies that they can use to operate their business more efficiently and more cost-effective. And because, let's face it, they're in the business of transporting goods. So specifically within these companies, I recommend targeting your senior VP of operations. This is typically going to be the lead person within a 3PL or 4PL. I would look for other VP-related titles within these companies. And I think each of these folks would find a high degree of interest in this paper. Additionally, I would recommend targeting your manufacturing and distribution companies. Again, these are companies where they're going to be shipping products from one location to another, and therefore these new technologies could have a strong degree of interest in their world. So within that arena, certainly targeting your global supply chain director, your VP of supply chain, your VP of logistics or logistic managers, anybody with an executive level title is where I would start with where I would start targeting in terms of putting this white paper in front of. Two other additional groups that came to mind, not so much from a client standpoint, but one maybe from a recruiting standpoint. Target your university professors, those who head up supply chain and management programs. They got great connections in the private industry, and I'm sure they would not only like to read this paper, but pass it along to their contacts. It has our branding on it, our contact information. I think it could be a great conduit for some further conversations to targets we're not even aware of. And then lastly, this new technology certainly has a strong IT and IT support bent to it. Probably a good idea to collaborate with our Modus friends and maybe see who are some of their IT directors we can get in touch with, and maybe do some dual visits and using this white paper to get in front of them and get into some new organizations. So kind of more of a collaborative standpoint from a cross-selling idea. So just a few things that came to mind from a general perspective after reading the white paper. I think it's a great one and certainly has a lot of potential impact. Jamie, I'll pass it along to you.
Thank you, Drake. My name is Jamie Chulis. I'm a BDM with Agilon in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can use our new white paper to target and get new business development appointments from a BDM perspective. So I know at our level, a lot of times we have a tendency to, sell to lower level line managers because those are the hiring managers that are who we typically will sell to. But I suggest, selling up. Target your director level and above professionals, because this is a very strategic piece, and you really want to target strategic decision makers to ensure that the information that you're getting across is getting to the right audience. And then obviously the hope would be that not only would you get dialed into their current and future staffing needs, but hopefully they would, introduce you to other, lower level managers as well. And I certainly don't want to provide an exact script as to how to use it, because I know we're all comfortable with different word tracks, but I think so long as you're getting the point across as to, its value, the efforts that we put to, procure this information, and then how we're using it to partner with not only their organizations, but others, within supply chain and logistics, I think, will help to add value. Ed, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jamie. This is Ed Volsing with Agilon in the Charlotte office. I'm an executive recruiter. If this is the first time that you're hearing of the Internet of Things, I guarantee you it won't be the last. My first recommendation is do some research, just get to understand what the technology is and what it can do and what it will do. That allows us to be extremely knowledgeable in the marketplace and come across as a market leader as opposed to just an order taker, which is what we're trying to accomplish. If you're sitting down and meeting with hiring managers, I really think one of the things we can focus on with this white paper is selling against the status quo, because times are changing and they need to really focus on being able to make decisions, smart decisions that are going to help their companies grow, because if they don't, someone else is going to do it. And if you can kind of talk through the opportunities for them to be able to make those smart decisions, do they have the right people on the team to help them through a business transformation like this? And that's where we can come in and help. The consequences are very, very strong. There's potentially massive upfront costs to transform their companies into an IoT supply chain, but the benefits are staggering. For example, one of my clients, they just did a massive technology upgrade, gained an enormous amount of visibility over their inventory across their entire network, and through some shrewd analysis figured out that they could drop their on-hands inventory by half, which freed up several $1 million of capital. So if you can address your clients along those terms, that I think they're going to sit up and take notice and realize that, the way we're doing business right now might not be the way that we need to be doing business in the future, and that's where we can come in with the right professionals to go ahead and make that happen. So back to you, Tish.
All right, well, I want to thank our presenters today for stopping by and just giving us some tips on how we can use the white paper. If you look behind Ed, there are many job orders on their board there in Charlotte because they've been focusing on supply chain. Ed is also in the top 3, number 2 executive recruiter for APS, and focuses, I'd say, almost 95% on supply chain. So good luck. The copy of the white paper will be sent to your branches. Each of you should have about 50 copies each from marketing, but then you can also order it from Dropmark and continue to use it throughout next year. All right, everyone, thank you again, and I'll see you soon.